Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Goodness sakes, there's people still joining. We're over 115 people, still people coming in. iPhone just arrived. It's exciting. Very exciting. Hey, welcome to our midterm report and strategy briefing. And let's just jump right into it. If you're new to Zoom, and I don't know how you could be at this point, but if you are, make it full screen and make sure that you open up the chat window on the right so that you can see all the things that are happening in the chat. It's always a wild thing going on, people saying where they're from. Also, that's where you can ask questions. If you have a question for us, we are going to have a Q&A at the end here. So just put those questions into the chat. We'll collect all of those and I'll see how many I can get through before we run out of time. With that, I want to just jump right into this. Please welcome Jason Berlin, our Executive Director of Field Team 6.
Hello, everybody. 124 people and counting. That is gorgeous. Mwah. Thank you so much for being here. Just tearing up, watching chat, watching everyone introduce themselves in the chat and all these people. I know Burl Hartman, amazing organizer in Boston, who's helped with Maine and New Hampshire. So many wonderful people are on this call. The electricity here could power a city. I have to say, first of all, I'm sorry about my beard. You know it's a good beard when you have to tell people it's intentional. It's like it's the iron filings with a magnet stick that it looks like you should be able to move it around. So welcome. Thank you for coming to our 2022 midterm report and 2024 strategy brainstorm. I'm Jason Berlin, founder of Field Team 6. Our mission, as many of you know, is register Democrats, save the world. And we mean that very literally. Of course, the people who are saving the world are the voters we register, who are a large majority women, young people, and people of color. We register Democrats in swing states specifically, where just a few new voters can have an outsized impact in swing elections. That's how we build blue power across the country. We started in 2019 doing this proudly partisan voter registration. That is our niche. We registered Democrats. So in 2019, we had helped register 6,000 Democratic voters, 6,000. Now that number is 1.5 million. You're not having a TIA. That is a real number. And that does not count everyone we helped register in 2022, this last year. And we're working right now on getting those numbers as secretaries of state across the country finish updating their voter rolls. Overview of tonight. So you're going to hear about everything we did in the last 2 years, culminating in the 2022 midterms. And after that, we are going to brainstorm live right in front of you. We've never done this before, about which states to target this year and in 2024. And we're going to ask you to brainstorm with us. We'll have a Q&A at the end and get everyone's input and feedback from as many people as we can. And we'll send out a survey. So whoever doesn't get to have their question answered, we also can hear your input. We figure that since you are volunteers and donors are responsible for all the good we do, you should have a bigger role in deciding where we do it. So yeah, we'll have a good amount at the time to get your, good amount of time at the end to get your input. But first, I'd like to just step back and set the table.
For dinner?
Not for dinner, not yet. Oh. Maybe I should do that too. So you may be familiar with this history, but it's good just to get a little perspective on everything that we've all done together. And when I say we during this, I mean we, the greater resistance, all the volunteers, activists, Democratic voters in the country. And we zoom in on Field Team 6 at a certain point, you'll know. Okay, so in 2016, America elected its most dangerous president. A resistance rose to fight him and his GOP enablers. And in 2018, we took back the House. In 2020, we deposed a dictator and saved America's life against all odds, we took back the Senate. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Stacey Abrams, and organizers of color, especially women. And in 2022, history gave us a 93% chance of total disaster. So we did the only thing we could. We defied history. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. We prevented a red wave. We not only held the Senate, but we added to our majority. We could have lost the House by 40 seats, but we conceded only a tiny majority of 5. And still, you're here because you know that despite these wins, we are in real danger. Fascists own the House, promising 2 years of chaos. So our top priority must be stamping out this trash fire and the threat of Trumpism once and for all. And for that reason, this is our 2024 strategy. Win it all. And we mean that very specifically. We need to take back the House. There's just a majority of 5 by the Republicans right now. We can absolutely do that. We need to defend the Senate and White House. We can absolutely do those things. The Senate will be a huge battle. We're defending 23 seats. The Republicans are defending 11. We need to keep all of our seats, all 51. And we need to switch out Kirsten Sinema for a real Democrat. And we save the democracy. In order to do these things, we're going to need to register a whole lot of new Democrats. Enter Field Team 6 with one simple mission: register Democrats, save the world. That is what we do. And this cycle, we were even more intentional than ever about working with partners in all our battleground states and being of service to them. We know that we're only as strong as our network of friends. So we took our lead from these on-the-ground organizations on messaging and targeting and gave them full control of the scripts of every text bank, phone bank, and postcarding campaign. So they could tailor those messages, micro-target them to the voters that they know best in the states where they've grown up. And we're super grateful to all our amazing friends across the country. Here are some of our biggest partner organizations this cycle. It's not all of them. We couldn't fit them all on the map, but oh, yes, there's this one detail I'll come back to. We helped register over 1.5 million Democratic voters. Does not yet count 2022. Here's that map. Super proud of the amazing people we worked with to get amazing things done. Progress North, Native American-led organization in Wisconsin. Turn PA Blue, New North Carolina Project, a Georgia National Organization of Women, Human Rights Campaign, also in Georgia, Bring It Home, Florida. Mothers Against Greg Abbott in Texas, amazing organization. Indivisible Tucson Action Alliance in Arizona. We have Jan Counts here from Arizona tonight. Thank you for being here, Jan. Fearless Action, amazing youth-led PAC that helped us out in districts in California and in other states. Onward Towards Progress. We'll talk a little more about them later. They raised over $55,000 specifically for our most thorough campaign of all time in Nevada. And national partners, including Midas Touch and the Union, the amazing organizers at the Union who are so good at amplifying everything we're doing, bringing in.
And here tonight.
And here tonight. Yes, Wendy's here tonight, maybe others. Thank you so much. We could not have done everything we did without our partners. They get credit for everything. And together, this is what happened. In the 2022 cycle, we went from 10,000 total to 15,000 total volunteers. And those volunteers signed up for 32,000 shifts. In those shifts, the volunteers made 408,000 phone calls. In the first cycle that we introduced postcarding, they sent 1.1 million postcards. They sent 3.5 million emails. We actually did that on the back end. And volunteers all sent 5.5 million texts. That's incredible. This is in addition to having live voter drives in every one of our states, and in addition to sending 3.7 million digital ads. And here's what that added up to. In the end, we reached a total of 5.6 million unique individuals with over 10.5 million touch points. So we reached each person an average of 1.8 something times. And if you're looking for the electoral results of that, here are some highlights of the victories that created across the country in the swing states that we were focusing on. We have, first of all, long-term states, victories in states that we've been in a long time, for these 2 cycles at least. It's not long compared to, some of the organizers on this call, how long they've been working. But this commitment for 2 cycles paid off in places like Arizona, where we got Senator Mark Kelly reelected, and we got Governor Katie Hobbs, thank God. And in places like Pennsylvania, where there were huge victories, Senator Fetterman beat the TV doctor. Governor Shapiro beat the ultra MAGA insurrectionist. And there were House victories there as well with Cartwright and Wild and other victories. We had a different type of victories with last minute states where our ability to move quickly paid off. We have no bureaucracy at Field Team 6. We're very proud of that. We always try to keep communication open from everyone, the volunteer steering committee and from me to every volunteer. Anyone who has a suggestion or a good idea, we value that communication across the entire organization and value our ability to just make decisions when they need to be made. So the funding that we did get in the midterms, a lot of it came at the very last minute. And we were able to say, okay, we just got in a donation. There's, voter registration deadlines have passed in most of our target states, but we have data in Colorado's, the swing district where Rep. Yadira Caraveo was running. And we saw that was a swing district. So, we sent maybe 30,000 texts into that district. She won that district. In Kansas, we helped out at the last minute. We had data for Rep. Sharice David's district. She won that district. We helped with that. In Michigan, there were 3 districts, 3, 7, and 8. Hillary Schulten, Alyssa Slotkin, and Dan Kildee were all running in these swing districts. We were able to help out in those 3 districts and help tilt them towards the Democrats. We have one. It's a shame that this is singular, fully funded state instead of
come back on screen, will you? To talk about this.
Okay, yes. So this is where thoroughness really pays off. And this is where we got to see exactly how much we could do when
we're seeing your screen still.
Okay, stand by.
There we go.
You had to see how much we could do when we're given the funding to operate maximally. So Onward Toward Progress, the amazing group I mentioned earlier, their goal was to raise $40,000 for us to put into Nevada specifically. They actually raised over 55,000. With that, we put together a list of 170,000 unregistered likely Democrats in Nevada, a state of 3 million people total population. So 175,000 is a significant slice. We bothered those wonderful people in every possible way, as many times as we could. We texted them repeatedly. We made phone calls. We used social media storms. We sent direct mail. We had live voter drives and phone banks. Everything we could possibly do to contact these people. And the results were amazing. In Nevada, we had the Senate's most endangered senator, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, and she won. Spoiler alert. We were able to help her get over the line. She won in the end by 9,007 votes. Okay, in a state of 3 million. That is razor thin. We got a Democratic Attorney General, Aaron Ford. We got the Democratic Secretary of State candidate over the line. He was running against an election denier. There are 4 congressional districts in Nevada total. One is ruby red, and the other 3 in redistricting all became swing districts, true toss-ups where we didn't know who was going to win. In a midterm like this, where history has headwinds against us, we should have lost all 3. We won every one, and we won them by 10,000 plus votes. And I think 2 of them just over 11,000 and another razor thin. So that was a beautiful example of what we can do if an organization or coalition of organizations adopts a state and is able to give us the budget we need to operate maximally, as opposed to our national touch point average, about 1.8 touches per individual. It was about 4 touches per person that we got to in Nevada. All right. Let me see. I believe, is it time? Hang on one second. I need to go back to my crutch, my PowerPoints. Here it is. Whoops. Seamless. It's just not a wrong move. Okay. Yes, fully funded states. And the final type of state we were in, altered states, which we entered to celebrate after the election victory. All right. That brings me to the present. And now it's time to look forward.
You're still sharing your screen there, Jason.
Whoops, thank you. It's my first time using Zoom. All right, so yes, now it's time to look ahead to 2024. And I would like to introduce someone who is rarely in the public eye, but he's one of the pillars of Field Team 6. He's worked for Andrew Gillum's gubernatorial campaign and Mayor Pete's presidential campaign, among many others, and even started his own voter registration organization in South Carolina before joining Field Team 6 in 2020. He was the one who converted us to digital voter registration during COVID of necessity, got us to crack the nut of digital voter registration, and it changed our world more than Bob Dylan going electric. Please meet Field Team 6's chief strategist, Corey Alpert.
Hello, glad to be here.
How you doing, Corey?
Doing all right. How are you?
I am wonderful. And I'm very excited that we're going to be brainstorming strategy live in front of a crowd. Nerdy?
We never do this.
Absolutely.
No, they do this. And that's why I wanted them to do it in front of everybody else, because it's super fascinating. Hey, let's jump right into like, what are we doing in 23?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Because there's not a lot of, that's already kind of, that cat's out of the bag. We're already doing it because, you know, there's a small list, but let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So first thing up, and the thing that I hope people already know, but we have a huge election in Wisconsin on April 4th. So this election will decide the partisan control of that state Supreme Court. The reason that's important, Wisconsin is one of the main battlegrounds for 2024, and the inevitable Republican challenge to Joe Biden winning again in 2024 will go to that Supreme Court. So we should fight there and make sure that we have as many fair and fair-minded justices as we can. So we have a election there. Other than that, we have a handful of states that have, and we'll go into them for just a minute, We have a handful of states that have gubernatorial elections, big ones being Kentucky, where we have an incumbent Democrat, a really great Democrat, and Andy Beshear running for re-election. In Louisiana, we have an incumbent Democrat. There's a bit of an asterisk on Democrat. Who
Didn't think asterisk was going to end that way.
in Louisiana. So we can win statewide elections in places like Louisiana. We've elected a Democratic governor for 2 terms in a row. Now it's time to elect yet another one. We also have a gubernatorial election in Mississippi. And for those of you who haven't checked out that race, we have Elvis's cousin, Brandon Presley, running for governor in Mississippi. So really excited about that. And then we have our two big state legislative races in New Jersey and in Virginia. So we have states that really matter. And we've had all these conversations about abortion rights in the last year. The place where that's being decided is in state legislatures. So that's where we need to go. But Jason, I've just ranted. So Jason,
yeah, no,
we've thought a lot about where these states are and how we're putting our efforts into them. But is there a state that you're particularly excited about here?
Well, I actually want to talk about, I didn't know that about Elvis's cousin. That's amazing. And Wisconsin, I want to talk a little more about. Yeah, April 4th is the election. February 21st is the primary. February 1st, coming right up, is the registration deadline for the primary. So the reason, other reasons it's so important that we take this opportunity to swing that Supreme Court to the left is Wisconsin is arguably the most gerrymandered state in the country. Someone was writing about that in the chat. That's true. These justices have talked about revisiting the maps. The 2 liberal candidates, Protasewicz and Mitchell, have both talked about revisiting the maps if elected. Wisconsin currently is suffering under a criminal 1849 abortion ban. It bans almost all abortion with very few exceptions. That will be reconsidered if we can change the mix of the court. And voting rights remain under attack in Wisconsin like crazy. So for all those reasons, Wisconsin's it's like the cornerstone of holding this democracy together. We need to swing that election. We have stuff going on right now. We have activities going on you can sign up for. Postcarding, text arcades, phone banks.
This might be a good time to mention that our website is down.
Yeah.
But it's coming back. Don't worry. If you click on one of the links in the chat that are getting posted and it doesn't do anything, we're going to send out the links in an email after this event. So you'll have it. The website is going to be up hopefully in a couple of hours. Worst case, it's going to be back tomorrow. So yeah, all of these things that we have going in Wisconsin and other things coming up, just know that we know it's down. Our emails have been down. If you sent us an email in the last 24 hours, send it again tomorrow, not today, because they're not quite back yet, but we're getting there. Anyway, sorry about that, but exciting stuff that we are doing right now in Wisconsin for this 4-4 election.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we thought that would be a good idea. So thank you, Deb. Very sweet of you. So yes, 2024 battlegrounds. This is what we need all of your help in choosing. Yeah, as for states, I feel like we definitely want to be in. There are some that are triple word score.
We're talking about 24 now, right?
Yes, 2024 battlegrounds.
Picking
those states. Actually, let me. I won't have it up the whole time, but let me show the map, so we can all be looking at that.
And to those of you who are asking questions, we are taking note of them, and we will be answering some of them in just a little bit. So please don't think we're ignoring you.
So here are the light blue. Oh, really? Okay.
You rehearsed this.
What was that about never having been on Slack before or been on Zoom before?
Remember all these wonderful slides? Trip down memory lane. Okay, so the purple states are the 2023 ones that we talked about just now a little bit. The blue ones are the possible 2024 target states. So yes, you know, to me, places like Arizona, we need to stay in. Georgia, we need to stay in. They're just those are the new swing states. Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, swing states for the White House for sure. And there are House battles there that we need to fight as well. Yeah, how do you feel about those three?
Yeah, I mean, those make sense. You look at Wisconsin, and they re-elected a Democratic governor, they re-elected a Republican senator. It's one of those kind of 50-50 states. But Republicans do seem to have an advantage in state ledge. So it's somewhere where we have House delegates, Republicans, or 6 Republicans, 2 Democrats, in a state that's voting 50-50 Democratic Republican. We can do a lot more here. Arizona, everyone knows, one of the main battlegrounds. I don't think I have any question there. And then of course, Georgia, where we've now elected and then re-elected 2 Democratic senators and Joe Biden. But certainly plenty of work to do. We can elect the more that we work there, the more that we can get towards electing a Democratic governor. And more Democrats at the state legislature level, and we have no lack of incredible Democratic talent down in Georgia. So I think those 4 states make perfect sense.
No, I lost track of those 4. What are the 4 again?
Sorry, 3. Arizona, Georgia, and Wisconsin.
Got it. Okay.
Right.
What are some other states that we're definitely going to work in?
I mean, I would say Michigan and Nevada. Michigan, we have an open Senate seat, right? Debbie Stabenow is not running again, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about talent on the Democratic side. I have no idea who's going to jump in. I know as a former Pete staffer, I know there's talk. I have no idea who's going to be running. We have an incredible bench of talent and we have Governor Whitmer, Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, a huge range of talent that could win that seat, but that's going to be a very hard seat to win. But I think that's another great one. Another one that I want to throw into that mix is Pennsylvania. I think that's certainly a must win. We just elected an incredible story in John Fetterman, but that shouldn't have been that close against someone like Dr. Oz. And we have a lot of work to do in somewhere like Pennsylvania. And of course, in Nevada, those races were incredibly close. We're very grateful to win a lot of them, but we also lost the governor's race. So we reelected Senator Cortez Masto. We lost the governor's race. It's, again, one of those narrow states where we certainly have a lot of work to do. And I think that one's definitely a no-brainer.
Right. We have those 3 congressional districts to defend again, at the very least. Yeah. What about, okay, so what are you thinking about Texas and Florida?
This is where we get into questions of like where,
right,
let's
get off the map for a second. I need to see expressions for this.
This is where we get into these really difficult questions of where our resources are best spent. And where we have the expertise to go and work. In Texas, a huge amount of our work is on the digital side. We certainly do a lot of work on the in-person side. And for those of you who are interested in being part of our in-person work, please let us know in the survey that we send around later. There's an option for that, and our teams will certainly be in touch. But Texas makes it very, very difficult to register new voters any way other than in person. So I think there's one consideration on that. I think in Florida, we really need deep and strong expertise in all of the various Latino communities that make up the vibrant map that is the Florida election, as well as obviously Black communities, especially in the Panhandle and in the Miami-Dade area. Those are tough. It's a real question of, is $1 better spent? $1 that hopefully the folks on this call are chipping in to help us get register as many Democrats as we can in the next 2 years. Is $1 better spent in Florida as it is somewhere like Wisconsin, or as it is somewhere like Arizona?
Maybe this is a good place for me to jump in and talk about partnerships.
Yeah.
Because we do partner with organizations that are even outside of our target states. And if let's just jump ahead in time and pretend that we know what our states are and that they don't include Texas and Florida. Let's just say that in a hypothetical world. We have a lot of data in Texas and Florida, and we are ecstatic to work with partners to use that data to text bank, phone bank, postcard, email, et cetera. So yes, like Corey mentioned, we do have in-person voter drive in a box, in-person training systems for both of those states right now. And we have all this data. So if you're working in one of those states and you want to do that, just because it doesn't land on our target list is really narrowing our resources personally as Field Team 6, but that doesn't mean that we're still not able to partner with you and provide that data for free. So if you're interested in that, please reach out to partnerships@fieldteam6.org and they will walk you through the process. They will hold you through the process. And you don't have to know what you're doing. It's okay. They will help you. So anyway, back to you in the booth.
Wait, not yet. Now I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
What if someone's interested in a state that we don't pick as one of our targets? I mean, where we don't have data already.
Well, so the quick answer is we'll still act as your broker. We'll still buy data on your behalf, and we still have the infrastructure and the ability and the interest in setting up those programs for you with the data that you've purchased. It becomes our data so that we can keep using it going down the line with other partners, et cetera. But that doesn't mean that even if we don't own that data right out the bat, it's okay. You come to us. Nick from Putnam County, New York, he pioneered this, and this is how we did this for the cycle 22. He came to us, he said, hey, I've been postcarding with you, I've been social media storming, I see what you're doing in Pennsylvania, I want to do it in Putnam County. It's a red county in blue New York. And can I do that outside of a target? And we're like, yes. And so he helped raise money. We bought data for him. We set up postcarding campaigns. I can't remember what else we did with him, but Nick really broke ice on that. It was amazing. So yes, the answer is yes, we can do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Taking your spotlight away now.
You in the booth.
All right. So yeah, it's a big decision. How many states to take on in total? Because we don't want to spread ourselves too thin yet. I like erring on the side of inclusiveness, just because, that makes us just a good place where volunteers can come in all those states who want an opportunity, and we have concrete opportunities to register Democrats and do some good.
Yeah.
So what do you think about like for the House? We need 5 seats total to win majority.
Yeah, so I start looking at New York. I think a lot of us looked at the election in New York and are seeing some of those districts, like our best friend and Nobel Prize winner George Santos.
Nobel.
I'm a huge fan. He wrote my favorite book. He starred in my favorite movie. Those districts in New York, Carol, no, I'm not sure if that's his name, and neither is he. But there were about five districts that were flipped by the Republicans in these incredibly narrow margins, and they're these districts that national Democrats kind of forgot about. In California, we have a district that I used to work in, just north of LA, that is this incredibly thin margin. I know a couple of people have mentioned Will Rollins.
Right?
Sorry? Yeah, CA27.
Mike Garcia. Yeah.
Yeah. And then districts like Will Rollins, that I know a few people have mentioned, where we did some work in this past election. So California and New York, we talk about the House. These are incredibly difficult ones where we're able to pick up these seats. And it's where I try to push back, especially when we come into the conversation around target states. New York and California statewide are fairly democratic. I know Governor Hochul had, a closer race than we wanted. But, statewide, these states are fairly blue, but these House races, we just lost a bunch, fewer than we thought we'd lose, but certainly places where we can go in and work. And then I think there are a couple of other places, and I know we'll continue to talk more about these, but single districts somewhere like Colorado, where we just won, a surprise win in Colorado's 8th and came out of nowhere to almost win against Lauren Boebert's district or against Lauren Boebert. So I think when it comes to the House, for me, it's states that we think of as red or blue, statewide, but places where we can go into one House district or another and reverse some of the losses that we had from the Republicans.
Yeah. I love you're talking about New York. I love that also because it's such a great activism base. So, it has that combination of super important targets and activated volunteers all over the place.
Yeah. Now, are you saying that as someone from New Jersey? Like, how does that counterplay work?
Yes.
Is there a rivalry?
Yeah. New Jersey, I don't know. I loved growing up there. I'm very happy I live here now, though.
And I mean, speaking of state rivalries, somewhere else that's close to my heart and important, and that I think we should be talking about is I grew up in South Carolina, is North Carolina. It's a state where we have an incredibly close gubernatorial election. Democrat Josh Stein, the current state attorney general, just announced a campaign for governor. Governor Roy Cooper, who's an incredible Democratic leader, he's termed out, will likely be running against an far right MAGA Republican, the current lieutenant governor of North Carolina. It has one of the true toss-up seats in the House. North Carolina's 13th, where my friend Wiley Nickel just won that seat, and then two other close House races there. And it's one of those states that's always right on the border.
It's just aching. It's aching to flip.
Yeah, and the state legislature is right there in the middle. But to me, it's the governor's race. We talk about protections for abortion rights, and that in North Carolina has come down to the governor's veto pen. So, and then, we talk about House races, and we have that House race just outside of Charlotte that, again, true 50-50 race that we can really have an impact in. So there are plenty of states like that where we can really go in and have a huge impact.
Yeah, North Carolina is, it went blue for Obama in 2008. It's right there. So yeah, that's a challenging one because, if we're looking at how many states can we take on without being spread too thin, there's one House seat, no Senate race this time, but it's like the definition of a swing state. So
well, and here's another factor to throw in for a state that we have not worked in already. So like New York, for example, other than Putnam County, we're going to need to buy data. If we're going to do voter registration in a digital way, which we've proven is highly effective, we're going to have to buy data. And so any state that we add to our target list for the 24 cycle that we have not worked in before, we're starting from scratch, which means that we're going to be reaching out to our donors. We're reaching out to our donors to reach out to their friends, to expand our donor base so that we can do that work. It's not just the expense of sending the text or the email or making the phone call and all of the infrastructure that holds the data, et cetera. It's also buying that data fresh the first time to make sure that we have those unregistered likely Democrats. I always start with unlikely. That's not right. It's unregistered likely Democrats.
Yeah, we try to get them likely Democrats.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Senate. real fast before we go to some questions and answers. Get some of your feedback. The Senate map, that, out of the White House, House, and Senate, the Senate might be the biggest hill to climb.
Yeah.
We're defending so many seats, right? And there are three that that are the most vulnerable, because we have Democratic senators from red states, and in a presidential election, there's a strong riptide for Republicans to come out and vote for president. So it's you got it, Meredith, in the chat. John Tester in Montana. It's tough, but he's beloved. We got Sherrod Brown in Ohio, tough state, but he's also beloved. And the most beloved of all, Joe Manchin in West Virginia.
Now, look, I'm preparing for the chorus of boos that's about to hit me.
Yeah.
We have to work in West Virginia. I think as much as everyone needs, as tough as it is, because he's stymied stymied a lot of things. At the end of the day, Joe Manchin votes with President Biden's position 88 to 89% of the time. If he is the only Democrat who can win West Virginia, to me, that's not a question. He is the only Democrat who can win a Senate race in West Virginia. He will be running against hardcore Republicans who will vote with President Biden 0% of the time.
Right.
Joe Manchin, as much as we, squabble with him and have an incredibly difficult time to get him on board with more progressive issues, especially on climate change, he still votes 100% of the time on issues related to abortion, for overturning the filibuster and whatever else he wants to do there.
Right.
But 89% of the time with Democratic opinion versus 0, to me, that's not a question. And we need to be able to hold him account, and we need to be able to reelect him and to hold him accountable. And holding him accountable with a 6-year term is a lot easier than holding him accountable having lost an election. And especially in a map where we're having to defend a lot more seats.
Right. I have to agree with that, because as much as, we hate him. We hate, I don't think that's too strong. I think that's too weak a word. Prevent so much good he prevented from happening. I think we have to elect Joe Manchin so we can make Joe Manchin irrelevant. If we can re-elect Joe Manchin and defend all 51 seats, and also, within those 51, replace Kirsten Sinema with someone like Ruben Gallego, who's been saying he's going to run for a long time now against her, then we don't need 52 to overcome the filibuster. We just need 51 without Sinema. And we could do that. And so ironically, if we do this really tough thing and reelect this guy who lives on a boat, then we can undo the filibuster and pass game-changing voting rights. Game-changing, that just changes the whole map, changes Democrats' ability to succeed in national elections significantly from now on. We can codify abortion rights. We can move forward with racial equity and police reform. So many of the things that we needed to and have been able to. So
I also, Jason, I think that we're in a unique position as Field Team 6 with the social media machine that Deb and team have built to actually change the message around Manchin so that we can get people to get him reelected. There's so many people, rightly so, on the left who despise him, and yet we're going to need to message that despite that, we need him more than we need a Republican in that role. So we're going to have to lean in on that and change that messaging. So
yeah, maybe hang a lantern on it. Call it reelect our shittiest senator.
All right, so I'm conscious of the time here. We have 13 minutes left theoretically, so I know we can go a little long, but we should probably be getting into Q&A right now, and we're not. So
let's do it.
You want to get in Q&A? Have we talked about all the states? Did we tick them all off?
Not all of them, but let's go where people are interested. Let's,
All
that's
right.
what we're talking about. I mean,
All
And
right.
keep an eye on your
just
email like we'll be sending out the survey. The emails that we send in the coming days will have more information that we didn't cover in this conversation that cover some of the states that we didn't just talk about, like Alaska, where my savior, Mary Peltola, will be running for the House seat again. We have so many elections coming up, so keep an eye on your email. We send those emails for a reason, and they'll have more and more information about a lot more of these races, and we want you to be able to make informed decisions so that you can tell us. So we will certainly be sending more information in the coming days about a lot of these states and the elections that are coming up there.
I'll drop that link actually in the chat right now for anyone.
Oh, let's wait. Otherwise, people will just be filling out the survey and not paying attention.
And that's why I'm not going to drop it in the chat.
For
All right,
everyone, this is what our daily calls are like.
Let's go with our first question. Paula says, my group of 14 veteran postcarders wants to use postcarding to help register new voters, especially in battleground states with a history of voter suppression, such as Virginia. I hear you have a large database of unregistered likely dim voters. Can you hook me up with 1,500 addresses and messaging? The answer is, Paula, yes, we can. It's postcards@fieldteam6.org. If you haven't already connected with Sharon, you will be soon, and we'll get you going. That's great. So that's a great question. If anybody else has a similar question, postcards@fieldteam6.org. Remember, our email is down. Email us tomorrow. Okay. Jerry says, when is the website coming back? A couple of hours, worst case tomorrow. Anna says, how many of our touches voted in Nevada? I'm just going to answer some of these really quickly. We don't have those numbers yet. That's what we're waiting for as we compare all of our unregistered likely Dems in our database to the voter rolls as those states update their voter rolls. We don't know. We'll have that as soon as we can. That'll be in our impact report for 22. It'll come out as soon as we have it. Probably, Corey, in the next
6 weeks or so. What we're waiting on is secretaries of state obviously have updated their voter roll for people to vote. We're waiting on them to update the voter roll that we can acquire. So we're waiting on that, and for the publicly available data on if someone voted. So we're able to track that. So next couple of weeks, and thank you to Bruce Hahn preemptively. I know you're on this call.
All right. Kim says, you haven't mentioned sending tweets out. Are you still focusing on that? I tweeted for the midterms. Hell yes, Kim. Hell yes. I don't know if you heard that we got 3 billion impressions on Twitter in 22 alone. That does not include everything we did on Facebook and on Instagram. We've also started ramping up our work on TikTok. Yes, we need you. If you work on any of the platforms and social media, we'd love to have you. There's 2, if not 3 trainings a week. Just check out Volunteer Ops once our website is back up and come find us.
Yes, thank you, Deb Verla, for leading those. Thank you, Cecily Young, for being co-czar, and Vicky Gutowski also being part of
Burl asks, who is a good partner in Virginia? I might like to get involved. Burl, if you haven't been chatting directly with Robin in the chat, you should. Robin runs a great organization in Virginia. We partnered with them on putting together Voter Drive in a Box, which is our in-person training, voter registration drive training. And we did that even though Virginia wasn't a target state, but because Robin was such a great partner, we were able to put that up last cycle. So yeah, talk to her, and I guarantee you that one way or the other, whether it's a target state or not, we are going to be working in Virginia with Robin's group and others as well. Tamara says, do you feel you were spread too thin with the target states in 22? And by the way, we had 9 target states in 22. That's a great question. Corey, Jason?
Yes and no.
We had 12 in 20. So it was a little of a relief to go down to 9 and 22.
Yeah, I think it's a question of resources. I think that we did a very good job in 2022. I think that for the resources that we had, and this is all credit to Dale, for the resources that we had, it matched what we were trying to do. The point of that is if we're going to do more than that, we need to be able to raise more money and thus be able to spend more money on reaching more people, and be able to add capacity for those of you who are interested in taking on more leadership roles and helping us on the back end. Those are incredibly important roles that allow us to be able to go into more states. You know, we talk about wanting to go into West Virginia. That's going to require more people who are able to come in and help us and you know, run more phone banks and text banks and social storms, and you know, frankly, more donors who are able to help us acquire that data and be able to contact all those people.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Carolyn asks, how did you get fully funded for Nevada?
So that was the that all credit for that goes to Angel Trinan and her group, Onward Toward Progress, OTP. They decided to, they're in the outskirts of LA, Pasadena, and from that area, and but have some roots in Nevada as well, and we're able to raise money from friends and family to, you know, to fund that project. It was $40,000 that they set their goal for. They were able to raise over 55,000, and the goal is to help register 25,000 new Democrats in Nevada. We'll soon find out when the voter rolls come back how many we helped register and how many of those voted. Can't wait to find out. And that was the most thorough, comprehensive campaign we have ever executed in any state, bar none. That was beautiful. It was so satisfying to be able to do that, and so effective. So if, you know,
list all the ways that we reached out to unregistered people in Nevada. Text banks,
phone banks, emails, direct mail, live voter drives, social media storms, digital targeted digital ads on social media,
postcards.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to note on that one thing that the fundraising there allowed us to do was to try new things, which is a huge bonus and something that we do that I think very few other organizations are able to do, which is try something brand new. So direct mail, almost no one's able to do it. We sent people the actual registration form with all the information that we normally give them, which is just different than a text or a call. You know, we're looking to see if it was better or worse, but like it allowed us to try something new, which hopefully will have a better impact.
I want to encourage all of you on the call to be Angel. Angel's not wealthy. Angel does not sit on a trust fund. She doesn't live in a mansion. Angel's a nurse. You know what she is? She's amazing. That's what she is.
She's amazing. Has a circle,
that's right. She has a circle of people.
Organizer.
She's a great organizer. She has a circle of people who are willing to put their money into activism, and she follows up relentlessly. There is no reason, if you have friends, why you can't be Angel. You can adopt a state. We'll connect you with other people who want to adopt a state. If you can't raise $55,000 through your circle of friends and you can raise 5,000, great. We'll connect you with 3 other people who are also doing the same thing. This can happen. Anyway, she's amazing. It's like that was such a great story of what we did in Nevada, and I can't wait to see what the results are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have so many questions. Let's take 4 more. How much effort is going into reaching out to independent voters? I'm going to answer that one real quickly. Independent voters fall within our likely Democrat filtering for the data. Because we are reaching out to unregistered people, progressive independents and likely Democrats probably have similar filtering, so we get those people in there. How they actually register is up to them when they do it, but it's based on issues and it's based on how they'll vote. So, Meredith says, why do we think no other Democrat could win in West Virginia?
Because no other Democrat has won. Joe Manchin's the only Democrat who's won a major statewide election there in quite a long time. He's a former governor. And, we talk about, candidates who are able to win based on track record. There's no other Democrat with a profile. There's no other Democrat who's able to raise the kind of money that it takes to hire organizers and build a platform. There was talk about Richard a few years ago, and then he essentially did nothing, despite having, national interest, some national interest. I don't think he garnered more than a couple thousand votes in West Virginia, whereas Joe Manchin, almost every single person in West Virginia is aware of who Joe Manchin is. And that means that he's able to go in and win these votes. And when he goes into coal country, those folks, those coal miners who are voting for Trump by 70 points, they're going to vote. They're still voting for Joe Manchin in a way that they're not going to vote for someone else. And it's tough. And, it's a reality that I think we don't like, but I have yet to see, and I spend a lot of time looking at, every state senator, every state rep, every, election in all these states. I have yet to see someone who is able to build the kind of profile that's needed in order to win a statewide election in West Virginia. And
okay,
frankly, yeah, sorry.
Great. Going to cut you off there because we have 2 more questions we want to get to.
Well, I actually want to, I think this will encompass a lot of people are always wondering about this. There's a question about what about registered independents? Are they included? So our database right now, it fluctuates. It's about 11 million unregistered likely Democrats. So these are people who have never registered. So we won't get any registered independents, although people don't usually, they're usually registered no party at all. We're getting people who are not registered, who are data vendors, which are the most reputable ones in the that exist, that work with the party and that work with campaigns. They give people a partisanship score. So, and that's based on age, location, gender. It's based on economic data they're able to get. If someone drives a Prius and eats kale and, buys expensive food for their dogs, maybe Democrat, their targeting turns out to be pretty good. And we take it the rest of the way because as a partisan organization, we do include screening language in everything we do. So we say, hey, just reaching out to you to make sure, we can elect people who support abortion rights, or we work it into the language somehow so that we make sure we're registering vast majority Democrats and progressives.
That kind of leads nicely into this next question, which is basic legal question. Can Field Team 6 work with Dem parties? For example, Dallas Dems, Wiz Dems. Can Field Team 6 work with all volunteer groups? For example, Swing Blue Alliance. Can Field Team 6 work with IE groups? The quick answer is yes. The quick answer is yes, we can work with all of those. Who we can't work with, actually we can work with them, they can't work with us. It's C3s. If you're a C3, you are legally obligated to be nonpartisan. As you might have guessed from our subtle ways of being here, we are partisan. It's right in our motto, register Democrats, save the world. Yeah, so C3s cannot work with us. A lot of organizations have a C3 wing and a C4 wing. C4s can work with us. So get that other wing to talk to us. We'll work with them. Yeah, Dem clubs we can work with, just groups of individuals. Yes, indivisibles. We're like the chocolate vanilla swirl. If you can find a volunteer that works with us that doesn't also belong to an indivisible chapter, you win a prize. I don't know what that prize is, but we'll get you one. But yeah, so the answer is yes, we can work with all of those. It's just C3s that we can't.
We can work directly with the Democratic Party, Burl, and we have successfully sometimes even, which is, is a challenge. It can be. All right. So.
All right. Should we do one more or is that it?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do one more.
Okay. Let's see. Have you worked with state Democratic parties for registration? Well, actually, yes, we have. Weirdly, it was not directly with them, but we partnered with Fearless Action and they brought in KDEM. So yes, the California Democratic Party was part of the work that we did in California 13 and California 22, registering new Democrats. So yes, we have worked with them. Not so much directly, but yes, we have. And so if you are a partner that has relationships with your Democratic Party in your state, we want to talk to you. We'd love to. Or if you are part of the membership of the Democratic Party in your state, or Dem clubs, great. Really, we just want to work with everybody that we can, but legally. All right. So concludes our question and answer period. If you had a question that was not answered that you feel like you still need an answer to, not tonight, but tomorrow, email info@fieldteam6.org. That's our main email address. And we'll get an answer to you. Not a problem.
Excellent. And I dropped the link to that volunteer survey in the chat. So if you haven't gotten a chance, fill that out. Let us know where you think we should be. And we're going to tabulate all those responses and see where people's interest lies. And Dale, would you, there's just a maybe 3 or so more important announcements that you're going to want to hear. So Dale, do you want to talk about Corey's latest game-changing brainchild?
Oh, yes, I do want to talk about this. So Corey had this idea to do a registered Democrats summit. And so, yep, it's happening. We are doing it March 16th. We've started getting people to say yes. Katie Porter said yes. She's coming to give a keynote. Abigail Spanberger said yes. Santiago Mayor from Voters of Tomorrow said yes. Brian Tyler Cohen, who you know from our exciting Meet the Candidates events, is going to be there moderating and doing his thing. We have a full day of panels, keynotes, workshops, and product demos. So if you or anyone that you know is interested in partisan voter registration, you should come and pick up tips and tricks on all the ways that we do all the things. There's going to be a partnerships panel. There's going to be a new tech panel. There's going to be a workshop on fundraising, etc. So anyway, there's a link in the chat, or will be soon. It's dead right now because the website is down, but don't worry, it'll be there tomorrow. You can sign up for new information as soon as we launch the website where you can RSVP, but we'll get you information in the meantime on like who we're getting signed up to be there. It's going to be exciting. Did I miss anything, Corey, that's obvious that I should mention?
No, we'll be announcing our first speaker lineup very soon with the folks on your screen and more. We're continuing every day to get more and more really exciting speakers who I'm super excited that all of you are going to get to hear from. Sign up at the link that I know is being passed around in the chat, and that we'll make sure that you're the first to hear once we have everything ready to go, which should be in the next couple of days.
So and just to clarify,
it is virtual on Zoom.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a virtual event on Zoom, so you can join from anywhere that you are in the country or the world. However, there are going to be a whole list of in-person happy hours in your time zone in various cities. So, Corey, I know there's one in San Francisco. I know there's
two.
Oh, there's two in San Francisco. There's at least one in LA. There's one in Austin. There's one in Milwaukee. There's one in DC. If you would like to host your own happy hour in your city, guess how you can do that. Just reach out to us and tell us you're going to do it. We'll just point people to the bar or rooftop or wherever you want to do it, and we'll send people to your happy hour, and you can meet people that are activists in your area. It's super fun. Anyway,
important, you don't have to rent out any space. All you have to do is find a bar you like.
Oh, you like it.
I'm going to be at this bar at this time, and other people.
They have beer in the refrigerator already. That's how it works.
I'm very, very excited about that. First of its kind voter registration summit, like Netroots Nation for partisan voter registration. Beautiful. And one more event.
We agonized over the title for it, and we came up with Registered Democrats Summit.
And it's free to everyone. Free to everyone.
Tell us about this, Dale.
Oh yeah, it's free to everyone. But speaking of money, this is our current fundraiser. It's just in time for Valentine's. We have partnered with Bake Back Better. Bake Back Better is a San Francisco headquartered operation, but they have expanded to Seattle, to Atlanta, Dallas, and we are gonna, we're gonna open their LA chapter for this one as well. What you do is you donate $35 to Field Team 6, and you'll get 4 chocolate cupcakes with strawberry icing for Valentine's. You can send them to yourself. That's what I would do. Or you can send them to somebody that you love. And we will handle all of the delivery. If you are interested in being a baker or a delivery driver in Los Angeles, reach out to me at dale@fieldteam6.org tomorrow when the emails are back up, and we'll put you on the list. I'd love to have you baking. If you want to order from any of those cities that I mentioned, please do so. The deadline to order by is February 8th. So we need time to be able to work out the routes and deliveries. So you got to order those now. Don't wait. I think Corey's mouth is watering. Was that what was happening there?
It is. I'm very hungry.
Okay. All right. Yes, it is dinner time here on the West Coast. So we should probably wrap this up soon.
Yes.
Did I get it all?
I have one more thing to say. Thank you.
Oh, right.
Final important announcements. And if you have any links for the Bake America, Bake Back Better, put that in the chat too, please. Okay, so I want to say thank you so much to Dale, our seriously incredible COO. Thank you, Chief Strategist, and so much more, Corey Alpert. Thank you to our volunteer staff, Janet and Millie and Deb, for running this call. And thanks to all of you volunteer heroes on this call for putting the team in Field Team 6, making us something between a family and an army. We are nothing without you, and we need you more than ever right now. Every cycle, some people step back and new leaders rise. So rise up. It's your time. Be one of them. We need trainers for different states. We need lots of people to help with all kinds of stuff behind the scenes, especially right now. If you're good at writing or coding or research, we could use you. There is no minimum time requirement. So yes, help out behind the scenes. I'm going to drop that link in the chat right now. And of course, please sign up for events, to donate. Every $15 helps us register 10 more Democratic voters. And go to the site. There's 75 days left before the Wisconsin Supreme Court election. So if you're wondering when the best time is to join the fight, the time is now, not in 2024, but right now. And my final announcement, I have to announce the 3 winners. We had a contest called How Many Times Will Kevin McCarthy Lose as Speaker of the House? And asked people to donate the amount of dollars equal to the number of times they believed he would lose. It could have been 45, no one knew. We have 3 winners: Louise Craner of Maryland, Dina Jacobson of California, and Gregory Bahuna of Florida. All donated.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Dina Jacobson is Bake Back Better.
Oh, hey.
It all comes full circle.
She wins cupcakes. They donated exactly 15 times. Of course, it's kind of a trick question because if we have any say in it, McCarthy will do nothing but lose. So keep on going, keep on doing this work and hanging out with us at events, and keep the faith, and we will see you out there. Thank you all so much.
Sybil's just joining now. Hey, let's make sure that we save the chat. And let's make sure that we get all those links into the email that goes out to everybody. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. See you soon.